If you would like to.
Mr. Chairman, first of all, let me thank you and Ranking Member Wyden, my friends, for taking this important piece of legislation to all of us. First of all, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask that the handout that I've given be entered into the record. I think if all the members should have a copy, it's the brief chronology of the UMWA health and retirement funds and the history of the U.S. government's involvement. So this is more than just piece of legislation we're asking for. It's basically to honor the commitment through law that starts back in the 30s. So I think we have a tremendous story to be told here. The thing I want to say, Mr. Chairman, first of all, you're a product born and raised in the coal fields in southwestern Pennsylvania and close to West Virginia, as you know.
And in Utah, we have a lot of coal.
Oh, absolutely, in Utah too. But there's not a more proud, patriotic group of people, the men and women that basically have mined the coal. This is a resource that we've taken for granted. The history is not being told, and children today are not learning about the country they have and how they got it. It became at the sacrifice of the most plentiful resource we've had that fueled the Industrial Revolution, that defended this country, mined the coal, made the steel that built the guns and ships, defend this country, won every war. And it's so important that basically the chronology of this law is in this by Harry Truman, and it's moved up from the 40s all the way into present day. So I'm here, and I have the honor of introducing my friend, but also a friend to every miner in America, and the most committed person that I know in this movement for the United Mine Workers is Mr. Cecil Roberts. He is a sixth-generation coal miner from Kanawha County, West Virginia. He has been the president of the United Mine Workers of America since 1995. He was reelected to his fifth full term as the international president in 2014. In fact, he is the second longest standing president of the United Mine Workers of America, next to John L. Lewis. Mr. Roberts is here today on behalf of our nation coal miners, and we have them from all over the nation, and we're so proud that they are here with us today. They have answered the call whenever that call came. Not only in the mining field, but basically most of them are veterans, have fought in the war, so they know the patriotic duty and responsibility they have. When our economy was stagnant, these miners fueled the growth and expansion. They kept their promise to us, and now it's time for us to honor ours. The promise that President Truman made to our country and to our miners. These miners are now facing multiple pressures on their health care, pension benefits as a result of financial crisis and corporate bankruptcies. Despite being well managed, the UMWA 1974 pension plan is now severely underfunded and on the road to insolvency. And the Miners Protection Act, which we have before you, will cure that. That is why I joined Senator Capito, Casey Brown, Senators Warner, Roberts, Kane, and others. This is truly a bipartisan movement to the Miners Protection Act, and I want to thank all those who's joined as co-sponsors. Mr. Roberts is going to speak on the importance of the bill and to provide an overview of the history of the promises that the U.S. government and co-operators have made to the miners of this country. The bill honors the promise of lifetime health care and pensions made by the U.S. government and co-operators. It simply seeks to protect the pension and health benefits of retired miners and their dependents. This bill is particularly important to my home state of West Virginia, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member Senator Wyden, because West Virginia has more retired union miners than any other state. And I like to say this, there's no state's been hit harder economically than we have today with the transition that's going on. But the undue pressure by this administration has wreaked havoc on West Virginia families. Out of 90,594 retired UMW workers in the country in 2014, more than 27,000 of those people live in West Virginia. I would also note that one of our West Virginia miners, Mr. Levi Allen, is with us. He's traveled to support this legislation. He is from the northern part, Marshall County, West Virginia. It's a Murray Energy Marshall County mine, formerly known as the McElroy mine. It was a Consol mine, McElroy mine. I want to applaud Mr. Allen, my friend Mr. Cecil Roberts, for their colleagues, for their tireless efforts. I want to thank you two both for your commitment to moving this legislation forward. It truly is. It's a commitment and a promise that we all made. This country depended on this energy, the most abundant energy. It's the only energy next to nuclear that basically gives you a base load. It runs 24/7. Nothing else does it in America. As this transition going on, West Virginia is not fighting the transition. We know that coal is going to be a staple part. We want to make sure we do it better, cleaner, with more technology. We're asking all of that, but don't put the lives and futures of these miners who've given their life to the industry that we have today, to the energy that we have today, and to the country that we have today, sir. And that's all we're asking for. The Miners Protection Act is a fix. It's a fix that works for not only the miners, but for America. So with that, I'm excited to be here on behalf of my friend and get a chance to introduce him, President of the United Mine Workers of America, Cecil Roberts.
Well, thank you, Senator.